They fight for our freedom. They're all victims of war. They're coming back heroes, all tattered and torn. God bless our veterans. God, don't leave them alone. Stand up, America. Oh, let's welcome them home. Heroes for hire. It's time to give them some thanks. Hiring a hero, it's like money in the bank. Heroes for hire, risk their lives for you and me. Hire a hero, show 'em you believe.
As the co-founder of Bridging the Gap of Georgia, I saw a need where, you know, whenever a soldier comes home and he's going through the nightmares, the psychological and mental aspects of combat experience, more times than none, the family doesn't understand how to deal with it. Bridging the Gap of Georgia is a mentor-based program set up and designed for our veterans that come back home and they have their institutionalized setting taken away from them to a more relaxed environment that allows for the invisible wounds, the wounds you can't see, is what Bridging the Gap of Georgia concentrates on. This soldiers and veterans that suffer with post-traumatic stress disorder, traumatic brain injury, and combat stress and fatigue.
You know, it's the men and women that give of their time, their resources, and do it in such a selfless way. And it's up to us as community leaders, as individuals, to rise to the occasion, to do our part to demonstrate not only our appreciation, but our admiration for the sacrifice that they do, because we enjoy the freedoms. We enjoy the freedoms that those individuals have granted to us. It's what makes America great. And really what this organization, Bridging the Gap of Georgia, is all about is making sure that we're giving opportunities to veterans as they are coming back here to Georgia. We can set aside opportunities for those individuals. And that's what this organization really is all about. It's about making sure that we are bridging the gap, not only for today, but also for tomorrow. And that's why I am pleased and honored to not only endorse, but to join with this organization in making sure that we're preparing a future that is bright, a future that embodies all the things that we as Americans believe in. It is our responsibility to join together and to do all we can to ensure a bright, prosperous future for our men and women that have served with such great distinction.
From the beginning, Keith has enhanced the depth of our understanding of the why behind our mission. His knowledge of PTSD, traumatic brain injury, and combat stress has transformed the way we think about the barriers so many experience in what most of us think should be simple. Just coming home or retiring from taking care of us. You know, we tend to shy away from examining what these people have dealt with and how it changes their reality forever. When you train someone to be a warrior, you can't just expect them to stop being a warrior. For many, the process can take quite a long time, and to some degree, it never ends.
They expect us to fulfill our contract that we signed when we enlisted. They expect us to follow our orders. They expect us to do what we're told. They expect us to die if that's what happens. So in that contract, they agree to take care of us when we agree to serve. They're not taking care of us.
Whenever I was approached about the Veteran Aid Foundation, it was more or less an idea that I had to help our veterans transition out of the Bridging the Gap of Georgia Bridges program into a more environment where they live in their own place.
How did VAF get started? Well, first of all, it started with our passion to make a difference in our forgotten heroes' lives. But in order to differentiate our cause, we concentrated on the concept of creating something of lasting value, something that would create a ripple effect and multiply the value of a dollar donated or earned. With the talent and experience our founding members and board possess, it was decided that a jobs and housing program with the right touches would be a success. Not only that, it could be repeated throughout the United States, and it could touch hundreds of thousands of people.
Thunderstorm comes, first thing you do is you grab for a weapon, because it sounds like mortar's coming in.
I was sitting there yesterday reminiscing about a lot of stuff that I experienced in war. And, you know, I often thought about how many people actually died on foreign soils. Whenever you go to war, you're not the same person when you come back home. And we need to more or less recognize that it's more than placing a yellow ribbon on your SUV and saying you support the troops. No, let's just find a solution together as a community to help our veterans so that they don't feel hopeless, lost, and alone and feel like the gun or suicide is the only answer. The statistics for veteran suicide is 18 a day, but we know better than 18 a day. The Veterans of Foreign Wars and other organizations seem to think that it's more like 1 an hour, which is 24 a day, of a veteran in some shape, form, or fashion has committed suicide.
We haven't done a good job in educating the general public about the unseen injuries that occur from the rigors of their service. We need to do a better job of this and make sure our citizens understand the responsibility that they have for creating a more receptive atmosphere for our heroes of service, regardless of their political leaning. We need to create opportunities for struggling individuals that have served our country and kept us safe. And it's about a successful transition from BTGG's wellness programs to VAF's jobs and housing programs. And then points beyond.
What up, soldiers? Texas Grown 409, aka the Iraq Veteran Gamer. Did you know war's biggest killer isn't roadside bombs or bullets? It's PTSD. Suicide rates have been rising every year since the start of the Iraq War. Over 300,000 soldiers have been diagnosed PTSD from the Iraq War alone. A third of those receive minimal care, while another third of those receive no care at all. Just because you might not understand what a veteran went through, lending a listening ear or saying thank you could save his life. Chances are you might know somebody like me, since 12% of the US population are veterans. So next time you see a veteran, instead of just saying welcome home or thanks for your service, how about you let them know that everything's going to be alright and that they're not alone.
Veterans Aid Foundation will provide collaborative leadership in developing green, sustainable communities in which our heroes of service can work, live, and feel the acceptance and camaraderie they became so accustomed to in their previous existence. These communities will be a place where they can regain their dignity and footing in our fast-moving, diverse society and economy. They'll be affordable, convenient, and offer many opportunities for employment and recreation. They'll be well conceived, from underground to the rooftop gardening. They'll be low maintenance, energy efficient, open neighborhoods with access to services that are important to the residents. But the really big difference is that they will be built largely by those that will call them home after they're done. We can do this by identifying transferable skills and by offering training to assure their success.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about holidays. A lot of people construed the veterans' holidays, and you know, Veterans Day is for the veterans that's living, and that's in November. Memorial Day is the last Monday of May. That's in honor of the people that sacrificed and actually died serving their country. July 4th really isn't, to me, barbecue, and neither is Memorial Day. It's not a barbecue day for me because I know that the price of freedom isn't free. And in order to have those holidays, there was lives that was attached to that was lost so that we could have those holidays. So holidays to me takes on a whole different meaning. You know, I used to think hot dog, there's July 4th, baseball, hot dogs, and apple pie, you know, but whenever I come back, I realized that it wasn't that. It was about the honor and respect, the dignity.
Well, I've got something here I'd like to share with everyone. I watched the flag pass by today. It fluttered in the breeze. A young Marine saluted it, and then he stood at ease. I looked at him in uniform, so young, so tall, so proud. He wore his country's colors. He'd stand out in any crowd. I thought how many men like him had fallen through the years, how many died on foreign soil, how many mothers' tears, how many pilots' planes shot down, how many died at sea, how many foxholes were soldiers' graves. No, freedom isn't free. I heard the sound of taps last night when everything was still. I listened to the bugler play and felt a sudden chill. I wondered just how many times that taps had meant amen, when a flag had draped a coffin of a brother or a friend. I thought of all the children, of the mothers and the wives, of fathers, sons, and husbands with interrupted lives. I thought about a graveyard at the bottom of a sea, of unmarked graves in Arlington. No, freedom isn't free.
Sons and daughters of different colors, same old red when they bleed, is on the hands of the Constitution in which we still believe. So if you see a soldier on the streets tonight, well, just shake their hand and say, thank you, man, and promise no one left behind. Heroes for hire, it's time to give them some thanks. Hiring a hero, it's like money in the bank, yeah. Heroes for hire, risk their lives for you and me. Hire a hero, show them you believe. Oh, hire a hero, show them